It's just they know how to blend. That's what makes Strangeways so great. That's what makes what makes the beer scene so great right now in general is that blending is collaboration, and the collaboration is really in right now. The creativity is awesome.
I didn't know if you wanted to try it. The top howler is an IPA. It's what, 6.8 ABV. It's kind of funky.
Funky
Not
how?
too funky. It's all the IBUs are kind of at the back end, like they kind of sit on the back of your tongue.
Oh, that smells good.
It's good. It's clean. It's not as springy as Martian Spring, but it's
Nasty.
I like it. You don't like
Nasty
it?
hoppy.
I thought it was good.
Ooh.
Or you like those two together? You could at least be in the camera. You should get out the camera.
Together they're good.
You gonna share what you have?
This is Must Be Nice. One of my favorites. I have to read it because I can't even remember. It is a wine sour. But I wanted to make sure I was saying it right because I didn't want to say just sour because it could be a different kind of sour than just.
True, because they do have a lot of sours.
They do have a lot of sours. I feel like they specialize in sours.
Kind of. It's their biggest section. And then their sweets are made out of their sours. So, are you gonna actually let me use this?
If you want to. I don't know how to get in the camera without being awkward.
See, I told you it's hard to put things in the camera. See, try to put something. Well, this doesn't count
because we're sharing. Must Be Nice. It's not necessarily tart, but it's very tangy. But not tart. There's no sourness to it. It's very citrusy. To me. I don't know if, have you ever had Must Be Nice?
Mhm. I was surprised how much I liked it because I'm not very much of a wine sour person. It wasn't too sweet for me because I don't like cider, as you know. So I think that if it had tasted, if ciders are more like that, I would probably like them. My issue with cider is that they're really crisp and bubbly, but they're also really sweet. And it's like I'm drinking like a syrupy soda.
Okay. It's not overly sweet. It's not overly powerful in anything. It's just, but it's comforting and nice fruity textures and notes. But it's a great blend and balance, and that's why I like it.
This one tastes like what I kind of wish wine tasted like, because I don't like wine.
Yeah, it's what's awesome about Strangeways, and they do have a wine sangria. I mean, a red sangria, excuse me, and which tastes very similar to the Must Be Nice, but okay, clearly it's red sangria. And what I like about that one is it's, again, not overly sweet, but you get the notes of the beer, the wine taste. And if you're into sours, or you're interested in trying sours, or you don't really know if you will like a tart beer or anything, that I would recommend it to anyone that's interested or curious about them, because it's on the mild side of the spectrum, or at least in my opinion it is. The one thing about all of, like JaemiO was saying, most of Strangeways beers is that if you try one and don't necessarily like it, if you at least tell them what you're into, they'll definitely recommend something, because what's great about all of their beers is they really do have something across the spectrum, not because they're all over the place, but because they want to definitely cater to the likes of the community that they're here for. They're here to gear towards the market that they're here for, and support the community that they're here and create for. That's what makes them so great. That's what makes the entire business so great. The business model so great. Must Be Nice, one of my favorites. Another one is Lucky Charms is really good.
We like all of this. So a lot of they have variants. They have ones that they'll try out, get rid of, everything. But some of their core variants that they actually either will rotate or keep are based off of Uberland. So I always say Uberland's my favorite beer because it has all of the variations that are like Lucky Charms. I guess is technically my favorite beer.
Yes, it is our favorite beer.
It's actually the Uberland, which is a Berliner Weisse, and then it's got Woodruff syrup in it, which they import from Germany. And I get really sad when they can't get it in, because I come here specifically for that beer. But in the late winter they have sugar plums, which really, honestly, if you've ever had an actual sugar plum, it tastes like an actual perfectly ripened sugar plum. I've actually never asked what syrup they use for that. The red sangria they use, I think a raspberry syrup mixed with something else. I have to ask. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Saint Germain, it's kind of on the drier sweet side. So like think of maybe a bubbly Moscato with a little less sweetness.
Yeah, that's a good description for it.
I'm actually drinking Fantastic now. So I did sorry, you tell me I do terrible with Fantastic.
There we go.
So I got the Nucleus Flight and then threw in the Sugar Shack. So the Nucleus Flight has a lot of their flagship beers. So that would be Fantasmic, Albino Monkey, I'm trying to think, Uberland, Warblood. Warblood was I think the first beer I tried from here, and I liked it, which was kind of interesting because it's hoppier than what I would normally go for, but I don't know, I can't describe it. I'll have to describe it while I'm tasting it. But Fantasmic IPA is on the lower scale of taste for me for the IBUs, so for the hoppy taste. Comparing it to Hop Howler, it's way less hoppy, way less bitter. Have you ever tried Fantasmic?
Yes, I like Fantasmic. I also like Warblood. Warblood, surprisingly, I'm not a huge fan of hops. I do like them. I just prefer them not all the time. It's not fair to say I don't like it if I haven't really given it a try. So,
like saying I'm not good at math, you have poor skills in math. That doesn't mean you're bad at math all the way around.
Correct.
Totally different subject.
So anyway, hoppy beers for the most part for me are just a little difficult for me to digest. And I think I've learned that I tend to like certain regions of where hops are created.
Well, there's different kinds of hops, and then there's also dry hopping versus wet hopping.
Correct.
And I'm trying to think of an example. They have a beer. I'm trying to think of which one. I think it's How Soon Is Now. I might be wrong. Is dry hops. And I'll go into detail in a different video the difference between dry hopping and wet hopping and how it affects.
Apparently this is how videos with JaemiO will be in the show. So anyway, I have tried How Soon Is Now. And
you liked they had a Legalize It series, which I thought was really sweet. So
those ones were really
good.
I
want to say 2 Legalize It's. They had one that came out, I think it was in 2014 or 2015, and then one that came out either 2015 or 2016. It was like 1 year and then the next year. And I actually thought it was about weed. And then I actually read the poster of the second one. It was actually about same-sex marriage, which I thought was really sweet. It was cute.
It was cute, but I don't know why she thought it was about weed.
Well, because there was so much debate over both things at the time, and I just assumed like the way the first Legalize It poster was, I assumed that that's what it was. And even the second one when it came out, I was like, I can't tell. And it wasn't until I actually read it.
I think that was the point, and that's what makes Strangeways so great, because
they support so many different organizations.
They support so many organizations, so many different causes, and they keep you guessing, because I mean, until you ask the question of, well, what is it supporting, or who are you supporting, or what position or stance you take, you really wouldn't know until you ask.
And yet they still remain kind of neutral.
Exactly.
So 2 things that have been kind of important to me: when there's stuff going on, they will do special benefits, and one of those for me was last year. My hometown actually had a really bad tornado come through, and they did a benefit concert for us, and it raised a decent amount of money. And it wasn't just the concert, it was the fact that like right afterwards I came in and they basically like calmed me down, because it was a big deal. Lots of people lost their homes, almost lost their lives. Luckily everyone is alive, but it was just really hard, really bad. And then also a friend of ours was trying to go to the Dominican Republic and help with global autism, and they did a benefit for her. They are all over helping out. I think that's pretty sweet.
And it calls this Global Autism Project. Sorry, just to clarify. If you're ever thinking about holistically when you're supporting an organization, no matter if it's for their product or their services, you should really look into the intricacies of that organization, because you're really investing in every part of that organization. We stumbled upon Strangeways at Brewery 4 years ago now. Randomly found their location here where we are right now.
And we came to one of their nonprofit events.
One of their nonprofit events for abandoned, adoption, and rescue of canines. And
which we actually volunteered with, or at least I did. I don't know if you did.
And I never did.
Undergraduate.
Ever since, we made it pretty much a part of our, not necessarily lifestyle, but
it being Strangeways.
Yes, it being Strangeways. To just come here, hang out, not necessarily just to have a beer or anything, but just see how they're doing, make sure that they're okay, make sure we're okay, and just support them and vice versa.
They sell great food trucks.
Oh, they do have really
Which
really
one
great.
Is out there now? It smells amazing. So I've switched over to Wood Booger now. Wood Booger is actually a Belgian brown ale. It's not quite as heavy, and it's not nearly as heavy as some of your darker beers. And I like that, like every time I have it. So one of the nice things about craft beer, if you've never tried it, when you have certain brews, or when you have pretty much any brew from a true craft brewery, each brew is going to taste different. It's never going to taste exactly the same. And I like that difference in taste. Sometimes the Wood Booger is more chocolatey, sometimes it's more caramel, and they have a caramel Wood Booger that's seasonal that comes out in the fall. And it is one of my absolute favorite. If I come here and I have one beer in mind and they have that on tap, that's what I'm getting instead.
Another side note about me, I don't really like dark beers, but I think it's just Strangeways in general. I like Wood Booger because I think everything you said, the different notes of it, and not that it tastes different every time you drink it or taste it.
Because it's got the same base
It
flavor.
does.
But sometimes you get more of those other notes.
of it.
And Woodburger is definitely not one of your more chocolatey beers, but it's definitely got that caramel thing going for it. So it makes it smooth. I shared that darker beers do have higher IBUs, but because of the malt presence, it makes it more subtle. This is a good example of that. If you don't like dark beers, I would challenge you to try Woodburger because it's definitely got that smoothness going for it that you would see in a wheat beer. But not so much of the sweetness that you would get in your typical porter or any other kind of dark beer, not including dark IPAs. Now I have switched over to Uberlin, which I told you earlier is a Berliner Weisse. Like I said earlier, it basically is what they use as the base for all of their sours. So it is kind of sour in itself, but it's not like a super sour. It's got a little bit of tartness, but it's still got some sweet notes to it. A little astringency, kind of like think grapefruit, but in a good way. Switching over to Albino Monkey, which I compared O'Connor's Hefeweizen to. So like I said, this one's definitely a little stronger than O'Connor's Hefeweizen, but it is definitely one of my favorites. It's got that cloudiness thing going on. I'm really bad at putting this in there.
Yeah.
No, I've actually never had it kind of warm, so obviously these aren't nearly as cold as they were before, but I actually think I like this. Like, I like this beer in general, but I think I like it better, like, kind of warm, like it is now. I almost said lukewarm, but luke actually means warm, so that'll be warm. But you can taste the peach, like it's peachy. It's good. I like peach. I like peach almost anything.
She has a peach problem.
Peach is good. I thought I liked pumpkin anything until I tried pumpkin yogurt.
Anyway, back to the beer.
But I've switched over to Guar Blood now, which really is red. Like,
yes, it's beautiful.
I never realized how red it is.
Beautiful
but
drink.
It's pretty. So I haven't really had enough red ales to say how I feel about them. I've had a couple, and they've been so different that I really don't think I can judge a red ale at all. I know what they're supposed to be. I know what the ones I've tasted like have been like, but I've had one that tasted kind of like a very, very light, almost like a Bud Light, that just happened to be red. And then I've had other ones that have been really hoppy, so I don't think I've had adequate red ale trials. But this one tastes like what I expect something that says it's an IPA to taste like, but never what they actually taste like. Like, if they taste like this, I would be okay with IPAs, but they don't. But it's only 5.5% ABV. Pretty smooth overall. It's a little bitter. I can't say it's overly fizzy, which is good for me. But the Nucleus Flight, like, if you don't know what you like, I say it's a good one to try because it's got so many different types of beer in it. Flagship beers, but it does have some of like the newer things that they want to try out at times. Things they want you to just try out. And for the price, if you get 5.5 ounces of each beer in it, and that it's only like $10. The last one I'm going to do is the Sugar Shack Porter. Obviously, it's a porter. And it's inspired by Sugar Shack donuts. Their Samoa Porter donut. So they actually have a donut that tastes like this and the beer that tastes like this. And when they had the release this year, they actually had a food truck that came out and did a Samoa Porter cheesecake. I don't eat cheesecake, but I heard it was delicious. She doesn't like the Samoa Porter, I don't think. It is sweeter than some of your...
I will say this flat out. Don't like porters.
This one is chocolatey and caramelly.
See what I'm saying?
And it almost tastes like, you know the chocolate that's on the outside of a Klondike bar? If you could put caramel underneath that and make that the ice cream, that's what this tastes like.
And I think my taste buds are broken when it comes to porters.
I can tell that mine are changing because there's some stouts that I'll drink now and it tastes fine going down, but a few minutes later, like, I just get this like really nasty sour alcohol taste, and it's just, I like the beer itself, but it just doesn't react well. And I'm liking IPAs more, especially getting more into double IPAs, and I used to absolutely hate IPAs, and your taste buds do change.
And I don't like stouts either for the exact same reason I don't like porters. And to be honest, they're almost the exact same well, in my opinion, they're really the exact same. She says they're not the same.
To me, porters are heavier. They're more like dessert in a glass, whereas a stout
I
can
think
be.
I feel like stouts are dessert in glass.
Now, see, I feel like stouts can be thicker. I've had so many, kind of like the red beers, like I've had so many different types of stouts where they've been thick like a porter, or even a frothy coffee. Frothy coffee.
That's a tongue twister, right? Frothy coffee.
But I've also had them where they tasted desserty, or they tasted almost like an IPA. So
And I guess
consistently porters to me taste like desserts in a glass, like a creamy dessert. So like,
you know what? Well, and to be honest, but you typically like a lot more desserty porters.
I do.
And a lot of more creamier stouts.
I do, because I also like cream stouts. I like cream ales. I like cream stouts. I like oatmeal stout.
She loves oatmeal.
I do love oatmeal stouts, and they're your lighter end of a stout, so they're less like a porter. So
give her a chocolate
maybe it's
porter
just the
and a
different.
creamy stout, and she is good to go.
It may be the difference between the ones I've tried and the ones she's tried. So.
But again, I don't mind experimenting at the same time. But yeah, I know I don't like porters. I don't like stouts. It just don't. No. Just too no.
Anyway, we're gonna conclude this video. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some more info from the staff next time. Because I do think I'm gonna do a circle back. Maybe when I do my 2 reversers or something. But thank you for trying out with me today, and see y'all next time.